So everyone's either dead or currently in the process of maybe dying. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 5 of Devil May Cry. And yeah, shit kind of went down last episode. Like, it basically acted as almost a mid-season finale in a way. Though it wasn't like as bigger and more bombastic than any other episode. It it really changed the game with the decision it made to kill off pretty much everyone. Like, we had Mary's entire team slaughtered. Every single one of them killed. And it's just like, oh, okay, so I guess getting to know these characters meant nothing. Mind you, we didn't get to know them that well, but we got to know them. It's like, okay, so you're just gonna kill them off now. Neat. But on top of that, we had Mary discovering that not all demons may be as bad as she's, grown up to believe. She ends up, while running through this apartment building from the demon soldiers of the White Rabbit, she ends up being saved and hidden by a family of refugee demons. Or I think they're called Makaians, because I think Hell is actually called Makai. If I'm getting the name right. If I'm getting it wrong, I apologize. But yeah, it's really interesting, and we learn that Makai is not a great place even for their kind, and that this family of refugees had come here thanks to the White Rabbit and been promised things would be better, but things were not better because they can't really go out in public because of how how society would react to them. Which, yeah, that sounds about right for humanity. But they still saved Mary, and Mary, as much as it's clearly paining her, and as much as she's clearly not ready to fully grasp it yet, she is starting to realize, yeah, she might be wrong. She might even be kind of bad for the way she's been viewing them and the way she's been, like, just nonchalantly killing them and everything. There might be a lot more to them. Nuance. And that nuance also extends to her character through this too. We get to see the different facets of who she is, and it really helps develop and showcase her in such an amazing way. And it is wild to me because apparently people hate her in this series, and I don't understand why. And I didn't look up any information, but I just did. Like, I do know that apparently fans of Devil May Cry do not like her portrayal in this. And that, I think that's the thing there. They're probably, those kind of fans of the games who are so strict about how things are adapted that it's like, oh, one little thing is off and they just despise it. They're so critical. And there's nothing wrong with being critical, like, inherently. But when fans become overzealous with it and, like, nitpick every little thing, it becomes fucking annoying. It really does. And again, I'm not going to look into details because I don't want anything that could potentially be spoilers if I do decide to play those games someday. Which I might, considering the PlayStation store has bundles for the games. It's very possible I could end up playing them. But either way, I really, really want to see, like, there's a part of me that really wants to know, rather, why people hate her so much. Because if it's just that she doesn't match the game one to one, if she's just not the perfect adaptation, and it's like, its own thing. It's like, well, I mean, the creator said this was going to be its own thing. It's not in the same continuity as the games. We know this. So it's like you're complaining about something that the creator has openly stated is going to be different. That would include with characters. So you're not going to get the same Mary that you get in the games. That's just not going to happen. And it shouldn't. I think that whenever an adaptation is made, and this goes for anything, not just video game adaptations, but it goes for like comic adaptations, books, anime to live action, etc., there need to be differences. Like any adaptation, because you're adapting it for a different piece of media, needs to be different. If you're adapting something from animation to live action, certain things in animation will not work in live action. You have to change some things. If you're adapting from a manga to an anime, you have to change things because an animated medium like anime requires different things of it, and different things work for it than work for a static medium like manga, which is just frozen images on pages. Different things work in different ways, and it needs to be adjusted. And then you have like this case where it's a video game. A video game is a very active medium. Like you as the player are actively playing it. You're choosing how the character moves and what they do. And in some cases there's, dialogue choices. Sometimes that even really affect the outcome of the game. And with a medium like an anime or a cartoon series in this case, you don't get that. Unless it's like, I don't know, Black Mirror Bandersnatch. But you don't usually get that. You don't get like a say. And so they have to craft a story that's going to capture the same vibe, capture the same essence of the original source material, but also be its own solid thing. And sometimes that includes doing characters notably differently. But as long as it still works, as long as it still captures that vibe, that's what's important. I mean, the live action One Piece series for Netflix is very different than the manga or the anime. But all the characters still have the same vibe. All the fights and the action and the locations and everything, while things might be different in some ways, the vibe is there, and that's what allows it to still feel like One Piece. And I can't say on how how good of an adaptation this is, because I've never played the games. But I can just say, just from a viewing experience, it's really good. And I've said it before in I think it was just last episode. I like that that Dante and Mary have like this split protagonist role, because I kind of to a degree prefer when shows have more than one protagonist at the same time. And I'm not talking about a protagonist and a deuteragonist. I mean two protagonists, or sometimes more. Um, like, there's nothing wrong with having a solo singular protagonist, depending on the series. But I enjoy having more than one, because it allows them to feel, it allows the story to go in different directions for the different characters, and allows more depth to be explored because of that. And plus, Mary's my favorite character so far, so there's that as well. Now, meanwhile, let's go into Dante's part of the story, because he had been kidnapped by the White Rabbit, is being held on Air Force 1 or 2 or whatever by the Oni brothers, along with the Vice President, Enzo, and a bunch of others. They play a DVD that the White Rabbit recorded, and he's basically saying, oh, yeah, everyone here is going to die unless you stop it. And so he gets taunted and everything. They start like revealing the stuff about him being, Sparta's son, and stuff about this devil trigger. And so he eventually does start to fight back, and eventually does even activate what we assume is this devil trigger thing, where he gains like demonic like form to a degree. It's only like partial, but still. It's really interesting with him being half demon to see exactly what he can do in that regard. But at the end, he does end up killing one of the Oni brothers, and the other one gets pissed and blows everything up after all. And now everybody's just falling through the sky to their eventual deaths. Which, Dante's probably going to save them. Or at least a couple of them. Definitely Enzo and the vice president. I don't see either of them going out this way. The others are probably pretty expendable. I feel at least a couple of them are going to die here. And knowing this show, it's probably going to show it. But yeah, I'm very, very interested to see more of this, because this is like, it's getting good. It's a very ongoing story. Like, this series clearly isn't like trying to be even slightly episodic. It is this fully like continuing narrative each and every time. And I like that. I prefer serialized shows, personally. For the most part. There's exceptions here and there, but Anyway, let's get into this and see just where this goes at this point. I wonder how long it's going to take for it to like reveal fully that Virgil's still alive. Because, I mean, obviously we know, but Dante doesn't know. Dante still thinks he's dead, but we as viewers know he has to be alive because the shapeshifter could take his form. So I wonder if that's going to be revealed soon. I wonder if he's like really the one pulling the strings even behind the White Rabbit. I guess maybe we'll see. But I feel like now that we're in the second half of the season, it's going to escalate even further. So let's get into it and find out how much it does. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I'm not altogether surprised. But I am disappointed, and I'm very curious as to how Mary's going to react to all this when she finds out. Because, like, she genuinely had been, like, having doubts and turning things around. And it's very clear that she wanted to save them. But Baines kind of fucked everything up. Because Baines seems to have, like, the same mindset that Mary has had, like, all her life. That demons are just inherently evil and that there's no getting around that. And like, he even sees the idea of, like, refugees and demons being incompatible as concepts. Baines is basically our current administration here in America. He is definitely representative of those kind of ideas that you see with the Trump administration and everything. And especially towards the likes of refugees and immigrants and whatnot. He sees them as subhuman. And mind you, in this case, Makaians are not technically human, but you know what I mean. He sees the Makaians as lesser because of this hyper religious bullshit that he has going through his head, which is in reality just a desire for power and control, masquerading it as anything, you know, as some higher calling, basically. He wants to demonize the Makaians because he sees them as lesser. He sees them as a race he can subjugate. And I think to some degree he does view them as dangerous. But he also just views them as, something to hate on, something to spread vitriol about. Because that's what these kinds of people do. They find a target and they demonize that target. And they make their followers believe that way too. Because it gets them more power. And again, we see this with like the current American presidential administration doing this exact kind of stuff to like immigrant families and stuff here in America. Especially those who have come as refugees seeking asylum from the dangerous situations in their own countries. But our administration just sees them as threats and nothing more. Threats that they can weaponize their followers, the citizens of America against. And unfortunately, it works. It unfortunately is it's a very effective strategy. And we wish it wasn't, because it's fucked up and evil. And it's ironic too, because like with that being represented in this series, we're seeing who the true evil ones are. And mind you, the White Rabbit is a bad guy. The White Rabbit is evil. And the White Rabbit's followers, the minions, are also evil. But you know that evil is born from something. It's born from abuse, from torture, from being forced into, this horrible situation because their former leader locked them away into it by siding with the humans. They have a reasonable hatred of humanity, but also they very clearly, are radicalized by the likes of the White Rabbit. And it's really fucked. Seeing the refugees be forced to be gunned down. And by the way, like, if anyone who would say, like, the soldiers who did it are not responsible, they were just following orders, fuck that. They still had a choice. They could have refused their orders. They could have realized that something didn't feel right there, and they could have refused their orders. But they chose to follow through, like, without question. And that blood is on their hands now. They have literally killed innocent children. Like, I can't speak. Like, I'm upset to a specific level that I can't even cry about this. Like, it's not anger. It's just kind of depression. Because it's like, again, innocent families, innocent kids were gunned down, literally burned in a box. It's like, this is some Nazi level shit here. They're not being subtle about this. It's really fucked beyond belief. And the vice president, Baines, is just so, like, aggressively, like, against these Macayans that he refuses to even believe there could be something else. But we continue in this episode to see, obviously, Dante and them falling. Dante ends up saving everyone somehow. I really didn't expect that. I thought someone was going to die. I didn't think it was going to be Baines. Not yet. But I thought at least a couple people were going to die there. But no, Dante saved everyone. And he had his fight, which ended with Mary actually killing the blue Oni. And they had this conversation with the White Rabbit where Mary finds out he's the son of Sparta and everything. Just all kinds of crazy stuff. But she's clearly on his side for now. Because she's going through, like, this kind of change in her beliefs and everything, which is clearly, like, hard for her. But yeah. And this is really going to fuck her up when she finds out what Baines did. I'm really worried about how that's going to go down. But yeah, it's like, this is like really getting good. And this episode continued to show Mary's evolution as a character. And it's just like, it's so good. She's such a great character. I love her so much. Like, she has so much great depth to her. I'm wondering though, did the shapeshifter commit suicide at the end when he blew everything up? Because it showed him standing in the control room, just standing there while the explosions like started to blast at him. Was that him committing suicide after seeing like what the humans did to the refugees? Which, I mean, clearly fucked him up. But it's like, it kind of read that way. Which is wild, because it's like you bring him back just to show him like possibly commit suicide because of seeing this happen. But that kind of like even adds to the point of everything. Especially with Mary's evolution. But it also shows that he was like lured in by the White Rabbit's words too. That he was doing this because of what humans had done to the demons and all, to the Macayans. So it's a very complex and nuanced situation that right now I think only Mary and Dante are really on the right side of. This is like a very harsh series. It doesn't hold back. And I kind of appreciate that, but it's also like, damn, man, you could hold back a little bit. But I'm really loving this. Like, this is great. I would love to hear your thoughts. Just no spoilers for the games, please. No spoilers for the future episodes. But all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.